This is Ian Bishop, and this will be my foundation prototype for Brethren Forsaken. And my foundation prototype revolves around a storyboard. Let us begin. My physical prototype. My strategy for making my physical prototype was involving a storyboard to accurately depict the engagement of the start of the game, as well as the conditions and the environment that would take place during it. So I drew out the scenes, and I also drew the dialogue that would begin with the first hints of action that would partake following. In my 6-part storyboard, I have the elements of a scene preparing for potential danger. The scene begins with loud thuds that ring at the door, with a bloody letter arriving under it. The protagonist and the main character, Clayton Tanner, makes the observation of the potential dangers due to the barren wasteland and the barren conditions of the desolate desert. Due to this, Clayton Tanner has his guard up and prepares for the potential dangers that may lie behind the door. Clayton Tanner decides to defend himself, obtaining a revolver from his weapons chest. Clayton Tanner continues to cautiously walk toward the door, and when he opens it, the door shines with a glow that the person or the observer cannot make out. However, it does seem that there are two eyes that glow and peer out of the obscured scene. There are also many streaks that depict the intense presence of whatever lies behind the door. This storyboard maintains engagement with the reader, and it captivates an intense narrative that keeps the reader engaged throughout. Based upon the early physical prototype of the game, I believe that the action is engaging and has potential to be expanded upon further. Therefore, I believe the next course of action is to introduce more features and mechanics into the next installation of a Brethren Forsaken prototype. Before I go to the next slide, now let me stress the importance of physical prototypes. The importance of physical prototypes and the uses for them lie within determining whether a game truly is an engaging base and whether the game has potential to expand further into a full-fledged, complex, and rich narrative. If the base concept of a game is not good, then there is no chance that with no matter how many elements and layers that are added upon it, that the game itself will be a successful game. Therefore, physical prototypes are essential for weeding out potential lackluster base concepts. I believe that a physical prototype is necessary in order to build a successful game and to determine whether a concept truly has real potential in the gaming world. Additionally, I believe that the uses for a physical prototype will also help to give real-time feedback to the player and to the creator when introducing new features and new concepts. Whether these features and concepts seem to add another rich layer, or whether they seem rather lackluster and don't add to the overall excitement or engagement, the physical prototype will quickly discern and weed out potential lackluster and lacking ideas. Therefore, the uses of physical prototype not only stem within the base origins of the base concept, but it also is very useful in implementing new features and new concepts along the way. Now, let me advance to the next slide to display the storyboard. So here is the storyboard, with the first part of the storyboard explaining that a bloody letter arrives at the front door. The second slide shows that there is a door, there's a letter that slipped under the door, with a thud ringing throughout. The third slide is Clayton Tanner, our main character, with some dialogue that says, "It's often barren in these parts. I better have my guard up." The next slide is Clayton Tanner walking to the weapons storage in a dim-lit room. The next slide is an even more gloomy atmosphere, with almost a walkway seeming to form in the direction of the door, which is almost appealing and calling toward the player to open the door. Notice how Clayton Tanner is now armed and weaponized. The last slide is the door opening, with Clayton Tanner seeming to be stunned. The door is swung wide open. There are many lights and streaks that depict an intense presence. There also seem to be two dots that peer inside of Clayton Tanner's residence. This is an ominous figure and continues to engage the reader. Therefore, I believe that this concept has potential and that this scene is relevant to the story. Thank you. That is my physical prototype and my first foundational prototype for Brethren Forsaken. Thank you.